Clermont, you don't own a car, right?
I do not.
So I'm just assuming that you're making the drive back to DC with Thomas, yeah?
Yes.
Okay. So then you're not really going to need to get home. How much of the illicit cash were you given?
$500.
You were given $500 in cash. I think Skip Thomas is keeping the pickup. Okay, excellent. So you're going to arrive back home. You haven't missed any days of work, have you? I mean, you probably had to get a sick day on Friday, but right now, when you arrive back in DC, it's probably... It's going to be about Sunday at 11 p.m., I think. You live in an apartment in the city, correct?
Correct.
Stepping inside, you don't live with anyone, do you?
Mm-mm.
So there's
My
nobody
cat.
who's... Alright, so there's nobody... Did you get somebody to feed the cat?
It's got... nope.
Alright, the cat is hungry and angry.
Yeah.
But I'm assuming you're just going to sleep incredibly soundly that night, having been either awake or on little sleep for the previous, 70 hours?
Yeah.
The next morning, are you doing anything in particular that morning, or are you just going to work as normal?
Probably just going to work as normal.
Okay.
Maybe a cup of coffee, but at the apartment.
It's going to be pretty easy for you to slip back into your normal life, waiting for this next operation to manifest. So, what are you doing for the next few months?
One thing is I would like to tell my fiance that in preparation for the wedding, I want to go on ahead and dye my hair.
Okay. So, dye your hair?
Just something to cover up the graying roots. That because of all the stress, I just don't want to have that in my hair for when we get married.
Well, okay, as long as it's not anything too crazy. I mean, you know how my parents can be with this sort of thing, and they would freak out if you came up to the altar with blue.
Goodness, no, like just like a maybe brown.
Okay, sure. What color is Julianne Clermont's hair currently?
Blonde.
Okay, so you're gonna dye your hair brown.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, that's fine. Anything else?
Lots of research here.
So, okay. What are you researching? And I think you said that you wanted to research through your position at the Library of Congress, correct?
Yes.
Okay, what are you researching?
I want to first work on interpreting the Latin.
Yeah, that's not going to be difficult, because it's a brief little scroll, right? And you did write down enough in shorthand that I'm going to say that you have the whole thing.
Cool.
Now, as to translation efforts, so you're going to take a few days, I'm assuming on lunch breaks, right? You're just referencing a notebook. No eyebrows are going to be raised. You've just got some Latin English dictionaries. It reads, I call upon you, herald of Moors and prophet of Janus. Speak life into this body. Animate from the inanimate. Make life of the dead. I call upon you, O outsider, in your words and in your tongue. And then there's gibberish, which phonetically in Latin should translate something to Kiarnak Shiaha. Maketh this body new, O outsider, and give it a soul.
The outsider. I am also thinking about that one other sheet that was in the cabin in the footlocker.
Yes, the classified report of something called Operation Speedway, I believe it was.
The fourth book in the series from Old Testament, New Testament, Book of Mormon.
Yep.
That's what I want to pursue.
How?
Thinking being a pursuer of knowledge as a special subject studier, going to other colleagues.
Oh, that's a really good idea. Yeah, you probably have specialists in all sorts of different types of history.
Yeah.
Okay, that's really cool. I like it. Okay, give me a name of an expert.
Joseph.
Does he work for the Library of Congress, or is he just like a regular old public historian or university affiliate or author?
I was about to say, I feel like he'd
be
be a university professor.
Okay, what university at? Probably New Modern Religion.
That sounds like a California thing.
That does sound like it'd be out west. Okay, so let's say he's at UCLA?
Sure.
Right.
Because if I went to Arizona, I think. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So you've got a connection, Joseph Peterson at UCLA, a PhD in New Modern Religious Studies. All right. How are you contacting him?
That's a great question.
Probably wouldn't be hard to get a California phone book if you don't already have his number, but I'm assuming you already have the dude's phone number.
I figured, and I was just like, I couldn't decide if
calling would be too unsecure. Or
yeah.
Okay.
But I don't like the prospect of mail either, so we're not gonna do that. And in DC. That's really unfortunate.
If you can find an official reason, like you can say, hey, there's a project that the Library of Congress is working on, and I would like to help on it and do some research in California in my capacity working for the Library of Congress. You can lie to your superiors, basically, and say, put me on this project that's going to put me in California. I'm going to go do research on it. And then just go talk to Peterson and research your own ends while you're there. It's risky. There's a role involved. I mean, it's not a high-stakes requisition.
Mm-hmm. I think I am going to lie to my superiors.
Okay. I think bureaucracy makes the most sense for this role. What's your bureaucracy skill?
40.
Okay, and I'm going to say that this is relatively low stakes, so
Okay.
I'm going to give you plus 20% to
Okay.
roll bureaucracy for me. Failure, but not critically. They are not going to transfer you out to California. They do not believe that your expertise is required on this project.
Fair.
You can call the guy, or you can just go on a weekend. Fly out, fly back in the same day.
I'll just call him.
All right. Hi, you've reached the office of Joseph Peterson.
Hi, Joseph. This is Dr. Julianne Clermont.
Dr. Clermont from University of Arizona.
Yes, that is me.
Yeah, well, what's up? It's been a long time.
It has. I have just this one question.
Sure.
I was doing some reading, some comparative religious things between modern religion and Navajo religion.
Understood.
I was wondering if you've heard anything of a second Messianic awakening?
It sounds so vaguely familiar, but I can't put anything to it off the top of my head. You have any more information?
Sure. It has something to do with a fourth book in a sequence. The order would go Old Testament, New Testament, as is traditional, to the Book of Mormon, and then to a fourth one.
Oh, so this would be a very recent development.
I believe so, yes. It would be very recent.
Are you looking for the title of this book?
Yeah, just the title of the book is fine. I was just doing some looking into some culty-esque things, just in relation to ritualistic.
So these are fringe. This is a fringe group you're talking about.
I'm under the impression that yes, it is.
Well, do they still exist? Do you have a year for me?
I unfortunately cannot give you a year.
I'll do my best, Dr. Clermont.
I appreciate it.
I'm going to consult my friends.
Absolutely.
I'll get back to you soon.
Wonderful, thank you.
So after a few days, Dr. Peterson is going to call you back.
Hello?
Hi, this is Dr. Joseph Peterson at the University of California at Los Angeles. With
Yes.
the Department of History and Religious Studies.
Yes, wonderful.
Can I speak with... Oh, wait, is that you, Doc?
Yes, this is she.
Hello, Dr. Claremont. So I'm calling you back about that second Messianic awakening thing you were asking me about?
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting case. So I have some associates, out in the desert near Las Vegas, and I was able to call them about it because, well, with the Mormonism stuff, I felt Utah was the way to go. And
Sure.
Well, as a matter of fact, one of his associates had heard the term before. Second Messianic Awakening. It seems to be specific to a small fringe group of religious extremists operating out of Salt Lake City. I don't think that they're strictly Mormon. They seem to be kind of their own thing. He hadn't heard too much about them. Well, they call themselves the Second Messianic Disciples. They operate out of, I'm pretty sure, a small chapel in Salt Lake. But that's about where my research ends. These guys don't really appear in much major documentation. I haven't been able to find too many articles. Very little academics on them.
No, wonderful. That's. I think that's all I needed.
All right. So you've got the Second Messianic Apostles, and you've got that they operate out of a small chapel in Salt Lake City.
I know they're basically interchangeable.
Did I say disciples?
Yeah.
Then we'll go with, which sounds cooler?
I like apostles.
Let's go with apostles. The Second Messianic Apostles operating out of Salt Lake City.
Okay.
All right. So what's the plan now?
I am going to request time to research in Arizona.
Okay, you're going to request some time to research in Arizona. Are you asking to do an official capacity or take personal leave to do it?
Official capacity.
Okay, go ahead and make me a requisition roll at only plus 20%.
Okay. Oh.
88 is a critical failure.
Yeah, it is.
All right, you have elicited official review, meaning that they're going to look at your request and they're going to be like, hey, you've submitted 2 requests to be moved out west recently. This doesn't super correspond to any major pressing research you're doing right now. And I guess looking into official review, you haven't done anything strictly illegal. So they're just going to give you an administrative reprimand and say, hey, stop asking us for these things. You're wasting paperwork time. You don't just get to move around the country at your whim. You go where the Library of Congress wants you to go. So you're going to be officially reprimanded. Probably nothing else is going to come of it at this stage.
Dang. So they're extremists from Salt Lake City with a potential connection to Mormonism.
And I believe Peterson said that they don't consider themselves Mormons.
No. But it has some sort of root coming from the Book of Mormon.
Possibly.
Would the Library of Congress be a place where sick days rolled over?
I would say that you're a higher ranking person, so I'll say yeah.
Okay. Let's say I took 4 off through the year.
All right.
Sure,
you've got 10 left. I'll buy that. You're a hard worker.
Okay.
What's your constitution, actually?
50. 10. Whichever number, I don't know.
50? I'll say you've got 7 sick days remaining.
7 sick days? Okay. If... Vacation time? Like unpaid leave?
You could probably request to take some unpaid leave if you'd like. They might get annoyed, though, because you just got officially reprimanded.
Well, sure. No, not now. I was just wondering, like, in general.
Oh, yeah. I'll say that you can request some unpaid time off later.
Okay. Because I'm just trying to decide, she would probably, if they didn't have unpaid time off, if she would save those sick days for the wedding.
Mm-hmm. When is the wedding?
October of the next year.
October of the next year, so you've got a long time left. Yeah. You got a few sick days left. What is Clermont doing?
I think she's taking 3 days.
All right, you're taking 3 days off, and
Yeah.
you're going to Utah?
Yeah.
All right, plane's going to take off. It's going to be a long flight, flying in standard class, and then you're going to park down, and you're in Salt Lake City.
Awesome. I am going to... When was BYU founded? But that's not in Salt Lake City.
Where is it?
Isn't it in...
Provo.
Yeah.
I think that's probably pretty close, right? 50-minute drive, so you could just get a bus out there, probably.
Yeah.
What are you hoping to say to the people, the good folks at BYU?
Oh, wait. Who lives out in Salt Lake City? What's the guy's name? Like the head... What's like the churches, the Latter-day Saints? Okay. And they have
you're looking for the head of the...
No, I'm trying to...
their equivalent of a bishop?
Yeah,
okay.
Like go down, the bureaucracy. Lower down the bureaucracy than their, prophet? Prophet. That's who they have. It's their prophet.
Here's the Latter-day Saints hierarchy. I think it goes... Ward bishopric is your kind of more local thing, and then it goes into stake presidency, and there's 3,000 stakes.
Yeah.
And then it goes into the general, assembly leadership of the church. Salt Lake stake. There we go. That's probably what you're looking for. It contains a bunch of wards.
Yeah, because I don't know if I want to go so far up.
Yeah, okay.
Just kind of a general...
So you can talk to the guy who's in charge of one of the ward bishoprics then.
Yeah.
Who maybe would lead just like a local chapel. Okay. You're sitting in a plain white room with plaster walls, religious texts, and iconography, and there's a plain, boring wooden desk with a standard office chair behind it, and the ward bishop, we'll call him. Let's call him Heath Myers. Heath Myers is sitting there behind the desk, and he's going to say, "Good morning. They told me somebody was here to see me on academic terms."
Yes, I'm doing some comparative research. I'm a specialist at the Library of Congress. I just wanted to ask about kind of Mormonism in general, but more so sects. Are there split-offs, branches?
Well, like any religion, the Church of the Latter-day Saints has had its offshoots and fringe groups, people whose views that we as a whole do not generally endorse. Are there any specific ones you're asking about?
Yes, I've heard of this one group, the Second Messianic Apostles.
Yes, they've made local papers recently, and they're a perpetual thorn in our side. People associate their raving lunacy with the Mormon Church, and, well, we don't appreciate its impact on our image.
I see. Is there any details that you're willing to share?
They're led by a man named Randolph. They operate out of a chapel in downtown. I can give you the address and the phone number if you would like. And he's going to, write it down on a piece of paper. It looks like it's in like a regular commercial part of Salt Lake City's downtown.
Sure.
Not like right in the middle of the city, sort of on the outskirts, but in an area where there's going to be like, 4 or 5-story buildings, shops, stores, restaurants. Is there anything more you have for me?
Not that I can think of. Thank you so much for your time.
Have a good day.
You as well. I'm gonna just walk by or take a car by or
there's
go
buses,
past
so you can
the
take a
building.
Bus. You can take a bus into downtown and then walk down the street.
Yeah.
And you're going to see that it is a pretty standard building. What was at one point, let's say like an Italian sandwich shop.
Sure.
Has been gutted out. It's been replaced. They've put like a big sign that says Second Messianic Apostles. Services every Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. 6 a.m., 8 a.m., 10 a.m., noon. Every 2 hours, it looks like they're going to have a sermon from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. And there's not a ton of other iconography. The windows are tinted. There's a wooden door with a little collection, like a metal collection box next to it. And that's about it. It's a very plain-looking building.
Okay.
Oh, and by the way, it's like a 3-story brick building sandwiched between 2 other 3-story brick buildings. It's just in the middle of a small little commercial district in Salt Lake City.
All right. I'm going to take the night because I flew in on a Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
The next morning, Thursday morning,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go to one of the services.
Okay. Walking through the doors of the Second Messianic Apostles Chapel at 8 a.m., you're going to see that there's enough pews probably to accommodate about 150 to 200 people in here. It's a standard church. There's no windows on either side, of course, because it's, sandwiched between 2 buildings, but it's got very plain, uncomfortable-looking wooden pews, notably with no books or literature at all. There's no racks for books like you would expect to find. I don't know, like at least in a Catholic mass, you'd expect to find a lot of books sandwiched between the pews, and there's none of that in here. And there's like a little step. The whole thing is gray carpeted, and it leads up to a plain wooden altar with a crucifix behind it. It looks like very standard Protestant Christian fanfare here. And there's a lot of, normal folks here sitting in the pews, looking forward, talking with each other, dressed up for this Thursday service, having brief words with each other. And you're going to get a few strange glances thrown your way, like people are going to look at you funny as you enter. Are you sitting down in one of the pews? Are you hanging in the back? What are you doing?
I'll sit in one of the pews.
Okay, so sitting down in one of the pews, you're going to notice that the only other door that you see in this room is a metal, sort of it's like a utility door, just at the back in the corner. Like there's the altar that divots back, then there's a plain plaster wall here, and then a metal door here. And you're going to notice that sitting there, white shirt, black tie, khaki pants, with a open carry firearm on his hip, there's going to be this guy, balding, wearing just standard reading glasses, sitting there, just hands in front of him, staring off into the distance. There's going to be no stimuli to indicate that the service is about to begin, but as soon as everybody's watch hits 8 o'clock, you can feel like an immediate collective silence wash over the chapel, right? And everybody's going to straighten up, comb their hair back, straighten their shirts, as a man in a very well-tailored 3-piece suit is going to step out from the door, followed by 2 other men, plainly dressed, shirts, ties, khaki pants, and he's going to walk over the altar and give just a general greeting to the completely silent chapel audience. And his eyes are going to scan back and forth, and you're going to note that he's going to make direct eye contact with you, and he's going to hold there for just a brief second longer than everyone else. And he's going to look out to the chapel, dab some sweat off of his head. A reading from the Book of Dreams. Dreams, 25:6, 2-7. And the Lord dwelled at the gates for only a brief moment before entering the city. The streets were deserted, and he could not see the end of the road, as it twisted and wound through the air around him. He encountered a before-dweller, who spoke to him in the croakish way. My Lord God, I have lost my way in the realm of dreams. And the Lord said unto it, Fear not the dark, and find not your way. For in the return of God, all will be dark, and all ways unfound. The before-dweller saw the Lord's message behind the words, and cried out for a moment. The Lord walked on from the gates towards the city's center. The twisted roads unfolded before him, and he was allowed to enter the spire temple where the dead angels rested. He spoke unto the angels, Rise, rise, servants of the great priest of Gomorrah. But they did not rise. He spoke unto them again, I say, rise, servants, rise or be drowned in the time of return. But they did not rise, and instead sputtered for a moment in their blood and their tears. Christ dwelt in the temple, and in the presence of the angels shed his flesh one final time. He closes the book and puts it back on the lectern as Randolph takes the altar. Fear not the dark, find not your way, for in the return of God all will be dark and all ways unfound. This here is the truest wisdom God can give to us. Right there in the Book of Dreams, people in Los Angeles, Las Vegas, Sacramento, Chicago, New York, Dallas, Washington, they go about their lives obsessed with finding their way, working their fingers to the bone to keep themselves out of the dark. But they are mistaken. There is no way to find. There is no light to bathe in. For when God returns, when he awakens from the ruins of Gomorrah, he will strike down the New Yorkers and the Chicagoans and the Bostonians, all down where they stand. They will drown in the flood of awakening. They will be prodded with teeth and torn with claws because they have tried to find their way. They go on with their lives, looking to learn, to live, to love, to surround themselves with money or give it away to the poor. For these crimes, they will die. We here, we know the truth though, don't we? We know from the Book of Dreams that the only way to engage with the dark, to engage with our lost paths, is to accept them. Accept the return into our hearts. Hope is poison. Light is poison. The best thing you can do for your mortal soul is answer the call when God gives it. You will know when the return is nigh, and you will be expected to do your part. You will rise, or you will drown. And he steps away from the altar for a moment. And at this, a small man from the first row rises to walk towards the altar. He's wearing a polo shirt and khaki pants. Notably, most of his face is covered with bandages, which appear slightly wet. It could just be how the light is catching it, but he walks from behind the altar and places a plain metal chalice on top of it. The two men that entered the room with Randolph then pick up a pitcher of clear water from a chair sitting aside the table and pour it into the chalice. Randolph then reaches into his coat jacket's side pocket and produces a small glass vial gilded with gold and with a cork stopper. The small amount of liquid inside is a deep red, and he uncorks it and drops a few splashes into the water before recorking it and tucking it back in. At this, like clockwork, everyone in the chapel rises and begins filing in the center row down towards the chalice. The man who's sitting next to you, he's kind of on the end of the pew, stands up and sort of looks to you for a moment, expecting you to do the same.
Now I follow.
All right. Rising, everyone is going to take turns in communion, walking up, taking a drink from the chalice, and then returning to their pew. Eventually, Randolph himself is administering communion as well. And you step forward, and he's going to tilt the chalice into your mouth. And it takes pretty much everything to not vomit. This is a vile, vile liquid. It's at the same time overwhelmingly salty and bitter. It's like death in your mouth. Which is strange, because it's apparent that most of what they poured into the chalice was water. Either way, you take all of your strength to not twist your face into the pure agony that your mouth is experiencing right now, and then file back into your pew. Randolph says a few simple closing remarks, and then his ushers pass plates to collect from the congregants gathered. They all give pretty generously. I mean, he's raking in a couple $100 per pew. If he can pull this kind of thing in multiple sermons a day, 4 days a week, he's making he's making much more than most independent churches would. The plates are passed around, and at about 8:45, just over a half hour after the sermon started, people begin to file out, eager to make their 9 a.m. work day beginnings. What do you do?
I decide to approach Randolph.
Randolph is going to turn, and he's going to look at you, and he's going to say, "Oh, I did notice a newcomer in our ranks today. What's your name, miss?"
Julianne.
Julianne. Where are you from, Julianne?
East Coast.
East Coast! You've given me lots of options. Boston, New York, Miami.
Breadbasket.
Breadbasket. Narrowing it down further. You seem hesitant to put a place to it. There are no strangers in my church, Julianne.
Yes, I can sense that. It's just more so I've been trained culturally not to share things.
You're a long, long way from home, Julianne.
Yes.
What brings you here to my humble church?
I'm a researcher.
A researcher?
Yes.
Of what nature?
I look into different religious groups, comparative. I did a lot of work in the Southwest with Navajo culture. I'm just starting to dabble in other things.
You're here to study us?
Not particularly study, something was drawing about this place.
Drawing? What do you mean by that, Julianne?
I mean, there's quite a large sign outside.
Yes. Were you in Salt Lake City?
I was.
For what reason?
I was coming out west to do some research, further research in the Southwest, and I decided to take a few days in Salt Lake City, explore the area.
You seem nervous, Julianne. There's nothing to worry about here.
What would give the appearance that I was nervous?
I've always been good at reading people, Julianne.
I have my reservations about organized religion in the first place.
Julianne, have you been having strange dreams recently?
I can't say that I have.
Interesting. We have another service, another sermon tonight at 6. If you'd like to join us in the future, feel free. There's plenty of room left. And there will be until the second awakening of our Lord God.
I see.
Now, if you'll excuse me, I have some studying to do myself.
Of course.
And he's going to take the blue book from the pulpit and file away behind the metal door. What now?
And I turn and leave.
All right. So you're going to leave. It's about 9 a.m. at this point.
Okay.
The streets are mostly empty as folks have been filing onto their 9-to-5 workday. What
Sure.
do you do?
I returned to, I guess, the hotel that I was staying at.
Okay. What's the plan?
I have this feeling that I know that the Book of Dreams is a singular book. That there is not going to be copies or published.
Oh, what gave you that?
So I'm trying, I really wish that I had like some sort of just gutsy move to try and, but I'm not going to try and steal the book because I know that's,
you could.
No, I know better. I know that would be a bad idea.
You want that book?
I do really want that book.
Probably some good information in that book.
There has to be some good information in that book. Can I say I got rid of the illicit money?
You want to have burned the money?
No, have given it to.
Oh, you want to put it in the collection plate?
Yeah.
Oh shit. Okay. Yeah.
So
absolutely.
it's not mine anymore.
So you've put the money in the collection plate for the church. What now?
I'll say I just spend the rest of my time in Salt Lake City and then fly back. I would like to see if there's any kind of collections in the Library of Congress pertaining to studies on Sodom and Gomorrah.
Okay. I mean, there's probably going to be a lot of religious and theological literature about
Yes.
that. But you're going to try and sift through specifically relating to the Book of Dreams.
No. Well, kind of, yes. I guess it is somewhat related to the Book of Dreams. In knowing about that Delta Green knew that it was related to the Old Testament because they had the verses from Genesis, I'm going to do some looking into, like, reincarnation of Gomorrah, I guess? Or, like, from the ruins of Gomorrah, I guess? From the Book of Dreams.
Okay. So...
Or the servant of the great or priest of Gomorrah, any of it.
So you are attempting to just scour all forms of religious essays and... I mean, that's a tall undertaking, right? Because this is a fairly obscure collection of folks.
Yes. I'm sure there is a way.
Holy fuck.
I can filter it down slightly to Old Testament research.
Yeah?
I'm sure I can narrow it even further down to Genesis. And even further down to the times of Abraham.
Okay, so you're going to be doing a lot of research into Abrahamic faith, right? Like
yes, Abrahamic.
The times of... Yeah, okay. All right. So it's, November now? We'll say you're doing that for the month of December?
Sure.
All right. There's not a religion skill in this game, which is annoying. I'm trying to decide whether it would fall more under history or occult.
Mm-hmm.
I think probably history would make more sense.
Sure.
So go ahead and we're going to roll for an improvement check on history. That means that if you fail a history check, it's going to go up by a d4 points to represent your studying.
Okay.
73, you failed.
Yeah.
Right, let me get a d4. So you're spending a month intensively studying this in your spare time.
Yes.
Okay. Boy, like, what this Randolph guy was talking about is pretty much nonsense compared to what you find in conventional literature. It's very apparent that wherever he's getting this stuff from, it's really not talked about a lot in conventional academia. Sinking of Gomorrah beneath the sea, resurrection of God there, Second Awakening stuff. It's not only not aligning, not coherent with any of the major Christian sects. It's not aligning with Christianity, Catholicism, Mormonism. Not only is it not that, but it doesn't really appear anywhere else, right? Like, no academic study of the Old Testament is going to come to the same conclusions that this guy seemed to in his sermon, right? Realm of Dreams is certainly not going to reveal anything in religious discourse. It's apparent that he's getting this stuff either from somewhere else or that it's totally out of left field.
Part of me is debating whether I just want to drop it.
You can.
But I don't really want to.
You can just drop it here.
Ugh, no, I can't do that. I'm a completionist. I have to know. I mean, it could just be some weird funky cult out in Utah, which doesn't... Oh! His name! I gotta find that guy. What his last name was.
Do you remember his first name?
I remember his first name. It's Nathaniel.
Yes, you do remember. I thought you had forgotten.
No, I had written it down. I didn't want to give it to that guy because no proper nouns.
All right, nice.
Yeah.
I thought you just forgot.
No, never.
You could have saved that guy hours.
Sucks.
That's a common Dr. Peterson L.
I'm not gonna give Dr. Peterson a name. He was associated with Delta Green.
That's
true.
That's good instance there. All right. So what now?
I can't infiltrate Delta Green. That's a bad idea.
Yeah. That would be tough. You've only seen the inside of the headquarters once.
I look into... This is my serial crime coming in.
Okay.
Start looking into missing people's cases.
Okay.
Or murder cases. Crime cases, related to the name Nathaniel.
Related to the... Okay, so you want to look into... All right. Now, that sort of stuff is going to be in, like... It's going to vary by city. Like...
Sure.
Like either an FBI office in Utah if it's interstate crime, or like a city hall or state courthouse would have these records in them.
Man, I flew back.
We can go back. No, you already did your Bible research.
Yeah.
I mean, Christmas is coming up, and that's like a sizable vacation for federal employees.
Yeah. I'll convince my fiance. We can go out there for a vacation.
You could convince Mark to
spend
Christmas in
Salt Lake City. Yeah.
Salt Lake City?
Yeah.
Weren't we going to Miami?
Were we?
Salt Lake City,
well, think about it. Skiing, and it's so beautiful out there, and we could even consider, we haven't picked a venue. We could consider, it would be beautiful out there.
Consider it in Salt Lake City?
Maybe just Utah.
The only person I know from Utah is my cousin Jeff, and cousin Jeff is weird. I don't know if okay, you want to spend Christmas in Utah? What would we do?
Mountains? There's mountains, right?
Okay.
It's right there near all those national parks, and it would be lovely to just...
Where is this coming from? I don't think I've ever heard the word Utah come out of your mouth before today. And the vacation's in 2 weeks that you're suggesting we change our plans now?
Well, honestly, I forgot about Miami. I'm not going to lie. And I thought it was a charming little city when I went a couple weeks ago.
I mean, why did you go to Salt Lake City?
I thought I told you.
No. So, why? Library stuff?
Yes.
What were you doing?
Research into comparative religious.
This is a work trip?
Well, not for Christmas. I just enjoyed being there, and I was only there for a few days.
It sounds like you're trying to spend Christmas at work here.
Not entirely.
Julianne, come on!
It's
I
not like
don't want this to be a repeat of 81. Just, alright, be honest with me. Is this a work thing? Are you just gonna do research the whole time we're there?
I'll make a deal with you.
Okay. Lay it on me.
From Christmas Eve to New Year, I will do no work.
Okay.
And I will prioritize all of my hours to be strictly within a certain amount of time.
That's incredibly vague. What does that mean? All my hours will be in a certain amount of time?
I was trying to say...
You're throwing legalese at a lawyer here.
I will dedicate 3, maybe 4 hours a day.
But not between Christmas and New Year's.
But not between Christmas and New Year. All that other time can be spent.
Roll
on
persuade.
holiday.
Plus 20%. Plus 20%.
I don't think I have anything in... Okay, I do have a little bit.
What do you have?
Plus 20%, 60.
Yep. Yay!
Yes!
Right. You're going to Salt Lake City!
Yeah! Yes!
And of course, Mark, being a wealthy civil lawyer, can cover it, so there's no need to go into major expense.
Lovely.
All right. So Salt Lake City. I'm going to assume that you probably have 2 days before Christmas and 2 days after New Year's.
Sure.
This, right? So you'll have 4 total days. Let's do the 2 before Christmas now. The plane has touched down. Mark is at the hotel, and he's going to be like, okay, you've got your 4 hours, and he's going to jokingly start a stopwatch, and he's going to say, on your marks, get set, go. I'll see you tonight for dinner. And he's going to begin unpacking. All right.
Solid.
What are you doing first?
I forgot what I was looking for.
Julianne just really wanted a vacation. So
I really just wanted
a vacation. It's just a nice city. It's just
That's the only... I'm going to go to there's got to be an archive in Salt Lake City.
Yeah, absolutely. Honestly, the federal courthouse for the state is probably here, and I think that's where these records you're looking for would be kept.
Yep, that's where I'm going.
We'll just say that they're kept in the federal courthouse. Mm-hmm. Okay. So you're going to the federal courthouse, and what precisely are you going to be doing for the next couple days?
I'm going to be looking for either a court case transcription or some sort of missing
police
case.
Report?
A police report, yeah.
Okay. You're looking for police reports, missing persons cases.
Or murder,
Okay.
death.
Yeah, that works. You're looking for the first name Nathaniel. Searching by first name is probably kind of difficult.
Yeah.
But it'd be easier if you have a specific range of years that you're looking through.
I am going to say from 75 until 82.
All right, and you're looking for all missing persons cases related to the name Nathaniel.
Yeah.
Okay. 1975 to 1982.
That's 7 years.
That's a long range.
That is a very large
all
range.
county records. Now, first things first, you're going to be met with a pretty bored receptionist. He's going to sit there, he's going to look up at you, and he's going to say, hey, welcome to the Salt Lake City Federal Courthouse. What are you just standing there for? What do you want?
Yes, I'm looking for a way I can look at missing persons cases.
Missing persons cases? I
Yes.
don't know if there's too many outstanding ones in the city right now.
Previous?
Previous missing person cases?
Yes.
What for?
I love listening to the news. And I really enjoy serial crime.
Look, man, it's public information. I'll weigh in.
Thank you.
Anything in particular? Maybe I can help you.
Just a date range. From 1975 to 1982. It's a very large range, I know, but...
I'll do my best.
Wonderful.
And he's going to disappear, and you're going to be left waiting there for like a few hours.
What are these microscope things where you're just like...
Yeah, there's microfilm, but yeah, actually, they probably would have put a lot of these on microfilm by now, wouldn't they? Either way, he's going to hand you a big bundle of papers and film and
Lovely.
Transcripts, like a lot of stuff. It's going to be police reports. It's going to be court testimonials. He's gonna be like, this is everything that I had.
Yeah.
Right? If you want something between those years and it happened in this state, you're going to find it in there.
Wonderful.
So go ahead and roll search at plus 20%. 24. Okay, you're going to find a police report from 1976.
Heck yeah! That is really lucky because I had no idea.
It's going to say that Nathaniel Richards, a former preacher of just a small, independent, non-denominational church, killed himself via self-inflicted gunshot blast to the head in his home. March 9th, 1976. There's going to be a brief investigation into it, but it's going to close pretty quick. It's very clear the gunshot wounds were self-inflicted. A number of items are going to be found in his home, various bits of wealth, and a book with a self-printed, self-published book entitled The Book of Dreams in gold filigree with a blue leather-bound cover was recovered. It doesn't explicitly say what happened to these items, but they were just documented being in the room in his office where he killed himself at the time.
Alrighty, that sounds great. I ever so graciously find the receptionist, offer the things back.
Roll a d4.
Random rolls.
You die. It only takes you an hour to sift through all of that.
Oh, heck yeah!
It's pretty impressive, and it took 3 hours to get there, so you're at the 4-hour mark exactly.
And I race to go to dinner.
All right, yeah. Mark has booked you a reservation at a nice restaurant.
Lovely.
Day 2.
Mm-hmm.
What's the play?
I am going to go to the police station.
SLCPD. What do you need?
I was just wondering if there would be anyone who would be able to talk about a case that was closed a few years back. It was a suicide case from 1976. Nathaniel Richards.
I can go ask the boys. Wait here while I pull up an American name generator. And he's going to disappear for a moment. And he's going to come back with an older-looking detective and say, "This is Detective Faulkner. He's been on the force since the mid-'60s. He might be able to help you here." So I heard you were here in response to a suicide case?
Yes.
Yeah, our desk man here, he checked the records, found that I was assigned to it. He gave me the case brief. You've been here for about 30 minutes, by the way. You waited for a bit.
I was about to say, I'm like...
Seconds. They gave me the case brief, and I remember some of the details. I mean, I guess they're kind of matter of public record, and, well, he didn't really seem to have any direct next of kin, so I guess I can speak about it with you. Well, what did you need to know?
Was there any sort of, liquidation of his assets afterwards?
I mean, I'm not the right man to ask that kind of stuff. We mostly handle investigation. If you had any sort of will, it would have been handled separately.
Sure.
You can check legal records for that. I would check with the local courthouse.
Wonderful. How long has it been?
Probably only about 45 minutes.
Wonderful. To the courthouse, I guess.
Okay, going to the federal courthouse. Now let me see. Okay.
Which is, I'm assuming, separate from the archives, because I would...
I'm going to say City Hall is probably where they kept the archives, and I'll say the courthouse is where they're going to keep these records.
Wonderful.
Hi. Well, what can I help you with today?
Yes, I was just wondering how private wills, if there's little to no next of kin, is it a public estate sale by the state? How is it?
It depends. I mean, if the victim had a will written out, it would have been recorded by the state, and by Utah law, a will is not public record unless it's entered into probate. Do you know the filing number, or perhaps the name of the deceased and the year?
The name of the deceased is Nathaniel Richards, 1976.
I'll go and check if it was entered into probate. Otherwise, unless you present to me that you are either the next of kin of the deceased or the next of kin of a specific inheritor in the will, I might be able to.
Of course.
And he's gonna stand up from his desk, file back. So he's gonna come back for a moment. He's gonna say, "Look, I'm sorry, but the will didn't enter probate. I think it's not strictly public record, and it would be a breach of ethics for me to give it to you."
Of course. Time?
Probably another 30 minutes.
Gotta count.
You're at an hour 15.
Yep. I'm going to call it there. And
Ending your research?
No!
Oh, okay.
No. For these 2 days beforehand.
Okay.
And I'm going to go back and I'm going to so graciously tell Mark, I've decided to quit early today.
Well, that's excellent. We've still got a few hours before our show. Want to walk along the lakeshore?
Sure.
And the next 7 days of vacation are going to pass very nicely.
Is it 7 days between Christmas and New Year?
I don't know. I'm very tired.
That is so fair.
But the next few days of the vacation are going to pass very nicely. You have the 2 remaining days beforehand, and Mark is going to be incredibly hungover from New Year's Day, and he's going to say, "Look, take all the time that you need. I'm going to take a long bath."
Absolutely, I completely understand.
So you've now got full reign over this next day, January the 2nd, 1984.
I have these thoughts, and I'm like, that's the most stupid idea.
What do you think?
Sit in the park and people watch until I see someone that I recognize from the church.
Oh. Okay, honestly, not a bad call.
Probably somewhere in the vicinity of the church, but not at the church.
Okay, how far? Are we talking you can see it? Or
Yes, I can see it.
So you're sitting a little bit down the road in a coffee shop.
Yeah.
What time are you getting there?
10 a.m.
Honestly, it's going to be hard to just sit here for like 4 hours and stare out the window. I'm going to have you lose a D4 willpower.
Okay.
3 willpower.
Dang.
Okay, what's your willpower currently at?
14.
You're now at 11. So, okay, and I've rolled luck here, and it turns out that somebody is visiting at their lunch hour. You're going to see down the road the man from church, now wearing a blue quarter zip with a button down under it, and blue jeans, is going to walk up to the red collection box in front of the church, mouth a few words, and drop a couple dollars in before walking back down the sidewalk.
Ooh, that's sus. I am going to take my leave from the little coffee shop.
Okay.
Very inconspicuously.
Sure.
Vibing out the door. I go after him.
All right. He is eventually going to take a stop to the Salt Lake Cinema, a theater where he is going to walk through. He's going to take his quarter zip back off and put on one of those red vests and a little bow tie, and he's going to step into the ticket box now that his lunch break has ended and continue selling tickets to oncomers.
Wonderful. I walk up.
Hi.
Hello.
You look familiar. Do I know you from somewhere?
Oh, goodness. I was here a few months ago. It was possibly that.
A few months ago.
I'm sure you see so many faces.
An awful lot. I can't quite place it.
Any chance you had, the only thing I can think of that was notable, though, I didn't come here, would have been some church down the road?
Oh my gosh! Did you attend Preacher Randolph's sermon?
That's it.
I knew I recognized you from somewhere. It's been a while since I've seen you.
Yes, I was only out here temporarily, unfortunately. But I'm back out here for a little while longer.
You're gonna want to stay here. You're gonna want to come every day. Or you're gonna be torn apart when he comes back.
Oh, goodness. I assume you're talking about
Christ.
Christ, yes. And what draws you every day?
Every day you commit to God.
Sure.
Or else you drown.
And where does this money go? I notice this is a very small church.
Randolph assures us that it goes towards preparing for the return.
Of course.
It's not my business to ask how the Lord's money gets used.
Yes.
Neither is it yours.
You're right. May I ask, what drew you there in the first place?
Well, I guess my dreams drew me to the congregation. I saw the building there. It felt warm. It felt right. God spoke to me, and he told me that Jacob Randolph is his man on earth. And a guy's gonna push past you for a second and say, "Hey man, 2 tickets for Scarface, come on." And he's gonna slide him 2 tickets and take a 20, and the dude and his pal are gonna fuck off. And he's gonna look back at you.
One last question before I run. Do you this communion do you take it every service?
Yes.
Do you know? Does he talk about in the Book of Dreams what it might be?
It's the blood of God. Look, I get the feeling that you don't believe in any of this, but it's real. And if you don't get on board soon, you're not gonna die. You're gonna wish that you had. I don't want that to happen to you.
I'll think about it.
God spare you.
And I leave.
Yeah, fair little scoot. Yeah. Good place to leave. So you're gonna leave the guy there at his box office.
Yeah.
It's only about 2 o'clock.
Yeah. I need to know more about this Nathaniel. But I don't know where to go because I don't want to lie. Even though I haven't had a problem with that before.
Yeah. I see a few ways that you could continue this investigation.
What would I have to roll?
Okay. Firearms.
Oh gosh.
Keep talking. I'm gonna
To forge a lead.
Art forgery is its own skill. Do you have it?
No. Do I know someone who's really good at working with? I mean, I worked in the Library of Congress.
Yeah, you know a lot of people who work with documents.
Yeah, but I don't.
have a very close personal relationship with somebody else that does.
Mark, who's very
Who's
hungover. Here's the problem. I don't want to drag Mark into this.
Yeah, that's fair. But he could probably do it.
Yeah.
I don't know if he would.
I mean, he's really hungover.
It's been 5 hours.
Yeah, but okay. Okay. If I will get Mark's legal advice.
Okay, so you're going to talk with Mark. He's going to be eating a 3 p.m. lunch, hotel room service, a well-done hamburger with French fries and those little glass ketchup bottles that they give.
Yeah.
I fucking love those things. He's got like 3 of those. He's drowned the fries in ketchup. And he's going to walk in and just say, oh boy.
Are they that bad? The fries that you have to drown them in ketchup.
And he's going to just nod.
I figured. I mean, it's hotel food. What can you expect? I have a question for you.
Yeah, go ahead and shoot.
Okay, legally speaking.
Okay.
Is there a, I thought civil lawyer, wait.
He's a civil lawyer.
Yeah.
He deals mostly with wills and trusts.
Perfect.
Okay.
Okay, the will of someone, getting someone's will.
All right. Well, it's easy if you're an next of kin or if it was entered into the state's probate court. Otherwise, it's mostly client-attorney confidential.
Sure.
What are you looking into? I thought you were doing research on new religion or something.
I was, and then I got sidetracked.
All right.
You know my...
Characteristic?
Yes, you know my obsession with serial crime.
I do. Are you trying to look at a serial killer's will?
Not a serial killer's
Okay.
will. Someone who died, by suicide. But there happened to be some connection with weird culty religious people.
Do you have a list of the next of kin? Sometimes that's public information, even if the will entered isn't.
I was informed that there wasn't a lot of next of kin. And...
Wasn't a lot. So, small estate. Was the guy wealthy?
No, he was poor.
Was there any major investigation into the case?
Unfortunately, no. They ruled it a suicide and just called it there.
Yeah, I could call the firm and ask them if we have anyone in Utah. If it's a small case, not a lot of state scrutiny, and there's not a lot of living next of kin, or if there are no living next of kin, or if they're not particularly wealthy, I could maybe, I don't know, call in a favor, ask to put in a request for the courthouse. You know, they might grant it without looking too far into it. If they look into it, they'll deny it, but I can put in a request to see the will. Probably wouldn't even have to lie. Just, hey, can I see this? And they'll read the name of the firm, maybe the name of a contact if I can put it on there, and they'll turn it over to me. But I'm going to need the name to make sure that, you know, he's not secretly some wealthy billionaire that's going to sue me into oblivion for requesting to see his financial information.
Of course.
So what's the guy's name? Proper nouns!
I feel like I'm going to get in so much trouble with Delta Green. I can feel it.
What's the guy's name?
His name is Nathaniel Richards.
Okay, Nathaniel Richards. Died, I assume, in the state of Utah, Salt Lake County?
Yes, 1976.
1976, death by suicide?
Yes, just... let's not scream this for everyone to hear.
Okay, Jay, you got it. And he's gonna leave and make some phone calls at the hotel phone.
And I'm gonna vomit. Profusely.
He's still a little hungover, is gonna shout, I feel you. And he's gonna hang up the phone after a couple hours and he's gonna say, head over to the courthouse. He's going to grab a piece of hotel stationery, quickly scribble some words on it, and then write his signature at the bottom. You're not officially a proxy of White and Burke. Go on, get the will. Don't take it out of the courthouse, though. It's a major pain in the ass if you do.
Of course not,
And don't unstaple it.
I will not.
Go ahead.
Thank you. I owe you.
As always, Jay.
And I run down to the courthouse.
So you're going to be able to get the will?
Yeah.
He had one next of kin. Actually, looking into the will, you're going to see that it was edited like 24 hours before his suicide.
Mm-hmm.
The only next of kin is a Mr. Jacob Randall, to which he left everything.
Of course he did! Oh, gosh, crap! And I'm gonna be gone before... Oh, fantastic.
What now, Clermont?
I'm gonna... Oh, gosh. Of course, that's so upsetting.
What would you like to do next?
Oh. Yellow Pages?
For what?
A phone number.
For who?
Jacob Randolph.
Oh! Yeah! Randolph, Jacob has a phone. Yeah, you can call him.
Is the address in the Yellow Pages?
Same as the church.
Dang it! Of course it is. Shocker. Wait, does he live in the church?
It's his personal residence is listed separately from the church as two distinct entities in the phone book.
But it's the same as the church.
Yes.
The same address.
Mm-hmm.
So if I go back to the church, just keep knocking on the door.
There's probably someone in there.
I'm gonna do that.
It's currently, let's say, 6 p.m. on Monday, January 2nd.
Okay.
And you're prepared to just keep knocking, but you knock the first rat, and as you're going in for the second, the door is going to open, like, immediately after the first knock. And the bald man with the handgun is going to he's going to be on the other side, and he's going to say, "Good morning, God spare you.
Good morning.
What do you need?"
Yes, I was just, it's so very unfortunate. I came here a few months ago, and I will not be able to make it to a service, but I would really love to hear more. There is no way that I could speak to Reverend Randolph? Pastor?
Stand down, Alexander. It sounds like someone's at the door for me.
Oh, gosh.
Enter.
Vomits again. Not really, but I want to.
Stepping into the empty church, only one light is on, illuminating the myriad pews.
Yucky.
Randolph stands in front of the altar. Julianne.
Yeah. Slimy man.
It's been some time.
Yes.
What draws you back to my little sanctity of the Lord?
Your charisma, the teachings, I'm not entirely sure.
You're also not entirely a good liar. My teachings, my charisma. Flattery doesn't work on a prophet the same way it does on a common beggar, Julianne. I'd prefer that we be upfront with each other.
Of course.
And Alex is going to close the door.
Blech. Yucky man. You know, I'm just going to cut right to it. I seem to have fallen down a little rabbit hole.
Okay.
What is your relationship with Nathaniel Richards?
Nathaniel Richards. He was an old man, an original congregant of mine.
I see.
Attended my sermons, was an early studier of the Book of Dreams. When he died, he left me a small sum of money which I used to purchase this chapel, or at least rent it for my first weeks.
I see. And
It's worth noting the will lists him as being the recipient of the Book of Dreams.
yeah, that's what I was running through my head. I was like, question mark. I see. So he followed you?
Indeed he did. As all righteous Christians should, Julianne.
I see. And what founded your early teachings?
Founded my early teachings?
Sure. Where did this Book of Dreams come from?
Divine inspiration, Julianne.
Of course, yes.
I am the Lord's sole prophet on this earth. His teachings were revealed to me in a dream. The Lord speaks with us through dreams, Julianne. Christ wandered for 40 days in the realm of dreams, 3 days in our time.
These dreams do they seem tangible?
The dreams are real,
Oh
Julianne.
man, I wish Monty was
Prophetic
alive.
visions.
Ah,
Transference of my soul temporarily into the realm of dreams, where God speaketh the truth, Julianne.
these 3 days, our time. 40 days.
The 3 days between Christ's crucifixion and his resurrection were spent wandering for 40 days in the realm of dreams. Basic tenets of the Book of Dreams, truths.
I see.
Then, his body rose again on earth, but
Yes.
his spirit remained in the realm of dreams for a time.
Mm.
Then he returned to earth, to Gomorrah, deep below the sea, where slowly he builds himself a new form. And one day he will return and bathe us in holy wave and flame.
So, seeing that I am not from here, and that it is highly, unwise of me to just pack up, move, how would I continue to hear about your teachings?
Unwise of you to move out here, Julianne? Unwise of you to congregate yourself near the temple of the Lord just before the days of his return?
He's really up in his ass.
The only wise thing to do is drop everything, Julianne. Drop everything and follow Christ into the realm of dreams.
I'm sure you've had plenty of converts who have experienced reservations.
Those who experience reservations get over them, or they will perish, Julianne. It's not my decision. It's the decision of the God above.
Thank you for your time.
Reconsider, Julianne. I'd hate to see you basked in the righteous flaming waves of the return. Think on this, Dr. Clermont. And they're going to open the door for you.
And I walk out.
and they're going to close it behind you.
Uh-huh.
It's currently about 6:15 on Monday.
That was only 15 minutes!
Yeah, that was a brief conversation.
Oh
6:15, Monday, January 2nd, 1984.
What are the odds that I call Delta Green?
Yeah, you can dial Delta Green. You have a contact number for them, right?
Yeah, but that was emergencies only.
That is what they said, yes. It's up to Julianne Clermont to decide whether this constitutes an emergency.
This does not constitute an emergency. I'm gonna go to Mark. Yeah, so question.
Answer.
How would one, force an audit?
Well, it depends on the nature of the organization. Are you talking about auditing an individual? Are you talking about a business? If so, is it incorporated?
Both?
Is it a... Well, okay. An individual and a business, depending on the nature of it, would be taxed as two separate entities.
Yes.
You want to force an audit? Are we talking about a corporation, a limited liability company? Are we talking about what?
Non-for-profit?
Non-for-profit?
Uh-huh.
Public record. Financials are public record.
Ah!
Okay, what's the name?
I don't remember.
You don't remember. You do remember, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Well, that's a problem.
Yes.
But I can take the name Jacob Randolph. If you have a home address, I can try and see if there's anything registered to the guy.
I don't remember.
Well, Julianne, that's a problem.
Yes, I know. And I might just drop it. I'm sure it's not
You don't have to do that. I mean,
that big a deal.
I mean, okay, you went and talked to the guy, right? Well, where was that? I
Oh.
want to help. You know, you go off on these big wild adventures, and I'm never a part of it, Jay.
Dang it! No! This is not what I wanted to happen!
What do you say to Mark?
I say, I'm trying to separate me and my character.
I guess I should ask, what does Julianne say to Mark?
Yeah, because I would say something very different. It's a church.
It's a church. What's it
Yes,
called?
it's just something with messianic apostle.
And it's in the city?
Yes.
That should be enough. I'll make a call to my guy.
Oh, I just made the biggest mistake
Hey, Pete.
in this entire downtime.
Yeah, another call about Salt Lake County. I'm looking for a non-for-profit or church registered under the name Messianic Apostles, headed by Mr. Jacob Randolph.
Crap. I didn't give him a first name.
Oh, headed by a Mr. Randolph. And I don't have a year of incorporation, but it's still around now if that means anything to you. Yeah, I should have filed with the current financial quarter. Really? Well, that sucks. Noted. There's not a church called that registered in Salt Lake County. There is, however, a Messianic Apostles Limited Liability Company, owned solely by a Jacob Randolph. He's not filed himself as a non-for-profit. He's paying taxes on whatever this thing is. It's not legally a church. But that has the downside of meaning his financials aren't public record.
Ugh. Dang.
I mean, if you would want, I can try and pull some strings to look into it.
No. No. Don't worry about it.
No, I can do it.
No,
I can help. I can help.
but it's not that big of a deal.
Are you sure? Because I think you've just spent the last 12 hours fervently pursuing this thread. I mean, you're out. I'm assuming this is what you've been following up on. Let's face it, you weren't here for work, were you? Yeah. That's all right. That's all right. You have your hobbies, all right? I want to be involved, you know? Maybe I can figure out who his accountant is, right? Maybe he's got a connection to a firm or a connection to the firm, and maybe I can weasel a thing or two from the guy.
I just don't want you getting involved. I mean, he's got a guy with a gun.
I want to be involved. Why don't you want me getting involved?
Because I'm scared it's dangerous.
Well, if it's dangerous, I'm definitely getting involved, Jay.
Oh, crap. Of course you would.
Look, Julianne, either I'm with you on this one or we gotta fly back to D.C. because you're starting to scare me with this stuff. You know, I mean, you were here on Library of Congress work a week ago and now you're following up on a cult leader with a gun. Let me in.
That does sound a little ridiculous when you say it that way.
I don't know what other way I'd say it.
Fine. But this stays...
Just between us, Jay. I'll make a few calls. So he's going to make some calls, and I'm going to make a law roll for him to see how quickly he can do this.
Oh, okay.
Because this is a long process.
Sure.
Right?
And we're probably going to have to go back to DC anyways, so...
39. I mean, he's a professional lawyer. He has a law of 70. So this is a success, and I'm going to say it takes him a D6 days to get this information because it's a small, local, limited liability company.
Okay.
On a 1, he does it by the end of the goddamn afternoon. 4, it's going to take him 4 days.
And we're going to have to fly back.
Well, I've got some days off I could pull with the firm. If you want to do some poking around locally, I'm sure that I could, I don't know, maybe pull some strings. The Library of Congress people like to work in advisory positions on legal cases. I could make a call that you're helping White and Burke. Wouldn't be the first time we've done it. I mean, Burke has his son working every other week. He gets him waived out of his courthouse clerk job.
Just a little bit of deep water.
Deep water? You got an official reprimand, Jay. Happens all the time. Hey, if you're too scared, we can head back to D.C.
No, not that card! Fine, we'll stay.
All right, so he's going to delay the flight to January 5th. It's currently January 2nd. He's going to have the information by January 4th.
Lovely. Is that math right?
No. He's going to delay the flight to the 7th. He'll have the information on the 6th.
Okay.
It is currently the 3rd.
Okay.
I had that completely wrong. All right. So he's going to say, all right, I'm going to continue making some calls, and he's basically converted the hotel room into a temporary office. He even had the concierge drag up a filing cabinet from the hotel floor just because it makes him feel more at home. And so he's going to be surrounded by papers and a hotel phone he's borrowing from the people next door so he can be on multiple calls at once. And he's going to try and desperately search for whoever the owner of the limited liability company is.
And I flick a paperclip at him. And say so much for not working on vacation.
So what would you like to be doing for the next 4 days while Mark is uncovering any financials he can about the LLC?
Kindly support, because I don't really want to go back.
Yeah.
To creepy pastor man.
Okay. So you're just going to spend the day recovering. Mark is at this point nearing the end, and he's going to hang up the phone. He's going to turn to you, and he's going to say, okay. So I managed to get on the line with a guy claiming to be an accountant who used to work with Randolph, and apparently the church is going through some pretty bad financial troubles recently.
Interesting.
Yeah, a lot of money's coming out of that place. A lot of the transfer is going to heavy construction materials contractors. A very large payment to, I'm not exactly sure, in China. A large deposit to a foreign account. Some independent collector that has a lot of estates in Hong Kong. A very strange financial record. I couldn't find any definite examples of tax evasion or fraud, but weird.
Oh.
The whole thing has weird written all over it.
Uh-huh.
And of course, several purchases to out-of-state firearms distributors.
Oh. Yeah.
I reckon that guy you encountered isn't the only gun carrier in the church.
Yeah. See...
Steel, bulletproof glass, concrete. Weird.
Oh. I wonder if he's building some sort of apocalypse shelter.
Apocalypse shelter, holy shit.
Yeah, he's a cult leader.
Where did you find this guy, Jay?
He just kind of showed up.
Huh. So what next? Today's the 6th.
Mm-hmm.
It's about 6 a.m. Tomorrow's your flight back to D.C.
Oh, I want that book so badly.
Yeah, and you might be able to get it.
I don't know how I can get the book.
Well, what's your plan?
I have to break into the building and freaking steal the book.
That is an option.
I'm not doing that because I get shot.
So he's going to look at it, he's going to say, like, look, I can try and dig a little deeper if you want to try and find specific transactions to look if we can book this guy on tax fraud, but, I mean, it's going to be a while,
Yeah.
and my search is going to have to go from borderline unethical to genuinely illegal if you're going to want me to dig any further into the financials.
No, we'll leave it there.
What more can we do?
How would you feel about going to church tomorrow?
Well, it's been about a decade, so I guess I'm a little overdue.
Just be prepared for something a little different.
I'm guessing we're not going to a Catholic Mass?
No.
I'll get my coat.
Fake the communion. Don't take it.
Now, that's probably going to be tomorrow on Friday, right?
Yeah.
It's like midnight on the 5th. Right
Yeah.
now. Okay. So going to sleep, you're going to have some strange dreams tonight.
Share?
Yeah, so you find yourself drowning, kicking your legs and thrashing your arms, desperately trying to free yourself from the water to little effect. Salt burns your eyes and you have little conception of which direction is up. After what feels like an eternity of squirming, you fall, breaking through the water below you and plummeting a few feet into solid rock. Looking up, you see a ceiling of water, gently rolling green waves. Pivoting, you observe you're standing at the entrance of a large ravine of rock at the bottom, most of which is submerged in the water above you. Far off in the distance, also mostly submerged, is a bizarre green structure that towers and bends all around. Its central spire tentacles off into 4 separate towers, and the whole thing looks like a disturbed rendition of what you might expect to find in the works of Dr. Seuss. You feel drawn to it for a brief moment. And then you wake up. Lose 1 sanity.
No!
You're in. Jay, wake up! Are you okay?
Weird dream.
Drowning in sweat, Jesus.
All this research just must be messing with my psyche.
Okay. Maybe we should call it after today.
Sure.
And so you're gonna not be able to go back to sleep. Mark is.
Sure.
Then at 6, your alarm is gonna go off, and it's gonna be time for Mass at 8. So attending your 3rd service this week.
It'll only be 2nd.
Yeah.
I just met with him the first time.
Right, yeah. So rolling up to the church the 3rd time this week. You're gonna sit in the pews. Guy's gonna sit next to you. You look over. You see this new guy, and he's gonna be like, "Oh, not only have you come here, but you brought a newcomer. You make a mighty fine shepherd." Randolph is gonna come out, and he's gonna begin delivering his sermon. But before he gets to the Book of Dreams, you're gonna hear a boom below you. And everyone's going to look at each other for a bit. There's going to be another boom, boom. And Alexander, the man with the gun, is going to step through the steel door, and one of the 2 men that enter with Randolph is going to go with him, and they're going to quickly close the door, and you're going to hear him walk down the stairs behind the door as the sound slowly fades. You're going to hear another boom, boom. And Randolph is going to continue talking, and people are going to be looking at each other, but as soon as Randolph starts talking, they're back at him, and Mark is like, "Hey, what's that banging?"
Couldn't tell you.
And then you're going to hear, just for a brief second in the back of your head, hear what sounds like a metallic screech.
Oh.
Your ears are going to ring, you're going to begin sweating, and Mark's going to be like, hey, what's going on? And then the scream is going to cut, and the banging is going to cease. And a couple moments later, Alexander and the other man are going to reappear from the middle door. Randolph is at this point going to nod to them and say, I am sorry, ladies and gentlemen, but the Lord's work demands immediate attention. Please, join us again tomorrow. And he's going to walk off from the pulpit as people are going to quickly file out of the room. And Alexander's going to usher them and gesture for you to follow.
Oh. Alexander's the one with the gun. Nobody has a firearm! I don't have a gun.
Mark is looking to you for guidance at this point.
I really want to rush the pulpit. Because I really hope that book is sitting up there.
The book is still up there!
But Alexander's got a gun!
Mark is going to make eye contact with you for a second, and are you going to look at the book?
Uh-huh. And then I'm going to look at the gun.
Mark is going to look up. He's going to say, "Ugh." And he's going to sneeze and fucking headbutt Alexander for a moment, who's going to stagger back for a moment, and Mark is going to lean down and say, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry, are you okay?"
And while he's distracted, I run and grab.
Sprinting up, you're going to snatch the Book of Dreams from the altar, at which point Alexander is going to push Mark off of him, look at you and say, "Hey, stop that right now!" What do you do?
Shove it in coat pocket.
He's going to begin running towards you. Mark is going to try and grab his arm. I'm going to roll unarmed combat. Mark has a default value of 40. Oh, shit! All right! He's going to grab onto his arm and yoink the goon back. He's like got his gun at this point. He's trying to hit at Mark and bat him off of his shoulder. What do you do, Clermont?
I am going to try and like yeet the guy in the face.
You're going to punch this dude in the face. I'm going to give you advantage on the roll because he's restrained.
Lovely.
Advantage on this roll because he's restrained.
Oh gosh, come on.
79. You're going to whip the attack. Alexander's going to push his way out. And Mark is going to be like, we got to go!
We run.
And Alexander is going to try and grab the collar of your shirt. He has an unarmed combat of 40. No, this guy's got a 55.
I was about to say, he's got to have higher.
He's going to miss. He's going to take a whiff, and you guys are going to run out onto the street. He, with his bleeding nose, is going to like take out the gun. He's going to be hit by the light of day. He's just going to reholster it and watch you guys run down the street. Pulsing at the back of your head for a brief moment. That then stops.
What's in this blood of God stuff? This is like...
So you've grabbed the book.
Mm-hmm.
And you're now running. Mark's like, holy shit, I can't believe we just did that. I can't believe we just did that.
Yeah.
Right. Are you okay? Are you alright? I feel fucking incredible.
That's wonderful.
Ow!
I just stole a religious text from a cult.
I headbutted a guy. I think I'm bleeding.
You probably are.
That was so fucking rad.
Yes.
Ow! I'm in so much pain.
We should go pack.
We should
leave.
We should get out of Utah. We should never come back. You were right. Salt Lake City fucking rules. And he's going to begin packing. He's going to say, all right, let's read.
Oh, okay.
So on the plane home, he's going to be like, all right, you guys are seated next to each other, and he's going to want to read with you.
Sure.
Okay. So.
Because after he had butted a man with a firearm,
He's got to end.
He's got to know. I can't. I did not want to. Dang it.
So, okay. Right. Book of Dreams. Nathaniel Richards. Undated. Dreams 1:1. As Christ, the Lord our God, slept upon his cross at Calvary, he awoke in the divine realm of the dreaming blasphemer. Choked with the dermal dust and sanguinary fogs of the cracked and ordained land, he traveled for 40 days towards the eternal lost city of Gomorrah. Roughly 120 pages in length, the Book of Dreams is handwritten. The first half or so is written with the biblical language and uses nomenclature familiar to that of the Old, New, and Mormon Testaments. Despite this outward aesthetic similarity, the contents are alien to standard Christian theology. It describes a 40-day journey of Christ through the realm of dreams, undertaken during the 3 days between the crucifixion and resurrection. During these travels, Christ, who is at times interchangeably referred to as an Old One and the Old One, encounters a string of bizarre and vaguely described entities, often either striking them dead or leaving them ridden with frothing madness. As the second half begins, the writing slowly loses its biblical timbre and takes on a more outwardly bizarre authorial flair, the handwriting becoming less legible to account for this new fervor. It recounts histories of godlike creatures and clashes with pentagonal beasts termed elder things. It refers to a figure who seems to have just pages ago been Christ by a new name, a name used in the last line of the text, which is as follows. In his house at Reliah, dead Cthulhu waits dreaming.